Chris, what's the most amount of money you've made in a single month selling on Amazon?
Straight to the money question. Well, we did over $100,000 on Amazon Australia alone. And then globally, $560,000 in 1 month.
So you over 100K in a single month on Amazon Australia and over 560K
100%. And that
per month.
And with that Amazon Australia one, that was like 90% one product.
Yeah,
Just
crazy.
one product that we grew that brand out of.
When was that?
That was in end of 2023. What are we now, 2026? Yeah, time flies.
Did you ever think that you would make or see that type of money when you were working as a plumber?
I don't think I ever sort of thought about seeing that sort of money come through in a month. Like, it definitely changed my whole perspective on money. Like, seeing numbers come through, like, you know, that's my yearly wage times 5, times 6.
How much was profit out of the 106K, out of the 560K?
Well, we normally run around 30% profit margins on average. So, you know, you work out that 560,000, what's that work out to be? About 160,000? Is that quick math? Or is that bad? About 180,000 profit. Pretty hectic. That was like some surreal times because obviously we've been building and we had goals set out. We had goals that we wanted to achieve. And then to hit that sort of figure with one brand, like from Amazon, like selling online. And like you said, like, did I ever think about that money as a plumber?
Yeah.
No, definitely not. Like, that didn't even cross my mind. When I was younger, did not cross my mind, whatever. Like, at all, I mean. And like, yeah, like I said, seeing those sort of numbers changed my whole perspective of like what I could do and what we could achieve.
Wow, so $106,000 in a single month on Amazon Australia, $560,000 selling globally. What other countries were you selling in at the time?
So at the time, we were selling to Amazon Australia.
That rain is crazy.
It is coming down. Storm's coming in.
Yeah.
So we were selling USA, Canada, and Australia. They were the 3 countries we were selling when we did that big number. We obviously did sell in Europe as well, but I think we may have not launched in Europe at that stage. At that stage, we were just in the 3 main countries. And yeah, obviously Amazon Australia growing so fast, Canada growing so fast, and the US is like the big dog. That's like where where the big money is, but it's not always like the best marketplace.
Mm-hmm. So take me back to the beginning. You were a plumber. I mean, just run me back. Like, where are you from? What was your life like? You know, all the way back then.
So I came from Adelaide. Like, I know you came from Adelaide as well. Did finish schooling. Like, I wasn't privileged in any way. Me and mum grew up just, you know, single mum household. Went through school. Didn't really want to go into university. I got into PE teaching, which obviously you relate to because I know you did PE teaching as well. It didn't really sit with me to go back to the educational system. Like, I was always a bit of a, you know, talkative in class. Like, you know, I wasn't the most astute student. And I went down the plumbing route. So the sort of typical blue collar, like 9 to 5, like, you know, work pretty hard during the week and then, you know, piss it all up on the weekend. That was, and repeat, that was literally my routine for probably the first, like, from 18 to 23. I was just plumbing and, you know, that's kind of just, my new mates were tradie mates. Like, most of my mates went to uni and I had still friends with them from school, but I kind of like, you know, grew into the tradie crowd. And my role models, I spoke to Veronica about this the other day, like my role models were like just tradies that were just doing the same thing. You want to be like them, you inspire to be like them. So yeah, that was the beginning. And then there was a few things that changed, I guess, that made me change how I wanted to be and what I wanted to get into.
You mentioned that single mother household. What was that like growing up? You and your mum. Run me through that kind of period of your life.
Yeah, so to be more specific, it was me and my mum for probably the first, I think, 10, 11 years. So my stepdad did come around at some point, but for the early years, we were like hopping around a lot. Mum was a nurse. She was working pretty crazy hours to put a roof over her head. We spent time in caravan parks in the early days, like hopping around rental properties. I remember like the horror stories. Like, I remember like some of the households, like share houses, like we'd stay with another like single mum and kids. And I remember the kids just being crazy. And like, it was just, mum had to get us out. Like, she just left the lease because they were just crazy. And that was like jumping around a little bit, but we did settle in like one spot. And she worked very hard. So I didn't see her I was always in like, you know, before school care, after school care. Like, she worked very hard and that was ingrained in me. Like, you got to work hard to put money on the table. But I was lucky that I had like really good grandparents and they were like my mentors. Like, granddad was my dad at the time. He was like probably my biggest male influence. And he's obviously like the most loving grandfather and dad as well. And he supported me through all sporting events, like anything I wanted to do. He taught me how to like work with my hands. Like he taught me everything really. So
George is a G.
Yeah. So I had really good family backing, but I look back and I was like, yeah, mum worked really, and mum was still with me a lot, and we did a lot of things together. But she worked very hard. Like she was at work a lot when I actually think back of it properly.
Got you. And so then after that, you went into, high school, and then from high school,
straight into plumbing.
You had the decision though. You were like, do I go down the traditional route? Do I do PE teaching or something like that, or do I go into a trade, right?
Yeah.
And so you chose the trade route, and you went straight in as an apprentice. What were your hours like? Did you get straight into hard work? What was that like?
Yeah. So I went into I deferred uni for a year, and basically, I wanted to travel actually. As soon as I finished high school, I was like, I'm going to go to Europe, gap year, that 18-year-old gap year. My uncle was like, just do your university or do a trade and then go travel, like get some sort of skill set behind you. And I appreciate that he did that because, if I started traveling at 18, I may never have got any sort of career to begin with. Like I could still be traveling, living off like a very small amount of money and just doing that sort of travel, backpacking lifestyle. But yeah, so I took a year off from going to unis and I deferred and I got into a pre-voc plumbing course because that's my stepdad's best mate actually taught there. And he's like, do plumbing. He's like, okay, I'll give it a shot. I might like it, I might not, but I've got nothing to lose. I can go to uni next year. As soon as I started plumbing, I was pretty good at it. Like I was good with my hands. I got a job in apprenticeship straight away. I got on with the boys. I enjoyed the construction life. Like it was fun. Like it was a fun job. Like, sometimes the apprentices get picked on. I didn't really get picked on. Like it was good. It was good fun.
You held your own amongst the boys.
For a baby face, like 18-year-old, like I held my own and I enjoyed it. And like, I was like, I don't want to go back to class. I was like, this is good. I'm getting money. I was getting paid, even though it was biscuits. I was still getting paid. And then I was like, I don't want to go to uni. So I just kept plumbing. I was like, I'm going to finish my apprenticeship. And that's what I did.
And if someone met you back then, how do you think they would describe you?
Oh, wow. I was wild. Like,
wild. That's the word, wild.
I would say loose is probably the best word. Like,
you were a bit of a loose unit.
Yeah. And I think that, I generally think that came back to a little bit of some of the tradie mentality as well. Like being like the loosest person on the work. Having the best story to tell on the Monday morning was like a thing. Like, who got with the best girl, or like who got the drunkest, who did the stupidest shit. That was just common on a Monday morning. Like that was just the normal that you'd have a chat about. And I guess that was like kind of filtered down into me because I didn't have like a father figure or something like that to sort of like pull me out of that scenario. I kind of just went down that loose cannon. Like who can be the drunkest? Like that was cool. That was like, try to get messy on the weekend. Like that was kind of what it was. And that was just common, and you kind of fall into those circles pretty easily. Yeah.
And then, to get out of that kind of tradie life, the very traditional route, like what was it that finally shifted directions for you in a completely 360 way, right? Very not the ordinary from where you're from, the people you're hanging out with, small town Adelaide, blue collar, tradie, like what was it that changed the direction in your life?
Well, I can say straight away it didn't happen overnight. It wasn't like a moment like that and then I changed. There was a time, there was a point, I can pinpoint what happened. Like I lost my license DUI. And it wasn't like I was drinking at the pub, I got in the car and drove. I'd been out the night before, I had a big night, got in the car was unregistered from the day before and they pulled me over for registration, lost my license. I actually then couldn't finish my apprenticeship at that company. That was the first sort of spark where it was like, okay, well, maybe I do need to like sort my life out a little bit. Like maybe I'm wasting too much time partying. Maybe I'm not taking things seriously. I wasn't, I was just finishing my apprenticeship. I wasn't a really good plumber yet. I was just like kind of finishing it, plateauing in plumbing.
Yeah.
And that kind of inspired me to do my Circ 4, which then gave me like the master plumbers back then sort of thing, higher qualifications, better pay in the future. That was the first kick point. But then, I found another company, I finished my apprenticeship. I worked for them for a year to give them back the appreciation for taking me on without a license. I had no license for 6 months. It was a pretty rough period. I used to literally get up at like 5 in the morning, walk to a bus station and catch 3 buses to get to work at 6:30 in the morning and then work all day and then like catch the bus to the gym and then catch the bus back home. I did that for 6 months. It was like, carrying my tools in a bag. Like it was rough. But yeah, like I worked for them for a year, paid back the respect for them taking me on for the 6 months without a license. And then I thought, you know what? Had money in the bank. I'm like, I'm going to go travel. My girlfriend at the time had just got back from traveling. And I was like, well, it was getting kind of serious with her. And I was like, well, if she's traveled and I haven't traveled, I need to go do that because, she was a little bit younger. And I was like, I need to experience Europe. I need to go travel. And traveling was the first thing that completely opened my eyes to what is actually possible outside of like working as a plumber 9 to 5. That was the first point, I think, traveling.
Yeah. It's really funny because when you, and I guess I've never actually drawn these similarities in our stories before because we're very different. But I guess now that I look at these similarities, I also came from a single mom household. You were going to do PE teaching or plumbing. It was never an option for me to do a trade, but I ended up doing PE teaching.
Yeah.
The real catalyst moment for me, I mean, you said it was for you when you DIY'd your car.
Yeah.
I wrote off my car drink driving as well.
Yeah.
That was the biggest eye opener for me. And then after that, I literally traveled. I went to South Africa. I went and I did like a week of doing volunteering because I needed to get my soul right. I wanted to feel like a good person because I was pretty horrible, and did the same thing. It was travel that, you know, opened everything up. And I remember for me, I came back to Australia after 2 weeks of traveling, and like, I just felt like I was a different person. Like I felt like I wanted to do different stuff. And it sounds like our stories do have a lot of similarities too. So, you know, ultimately, obviously you met my sister Veronica and now you're married, and that, like, what was it that initially then exposed you to online business, and what did you actually honestly think about it at first?
Yeah, so there was like a few different points. When I was doing the travels, like I traveled for quite a long time because I started doing seasonal work, and I was still working for someone, but I was still like getting to live that dream of traveling. And in between the seasons, I would like move around, and I started meeting people in hostels that, you know, were doing work from their computer. That was the first point of contact. Like I remember I met this guy specifically in Portugal, not Portugal. No, I was in Morocco. In a place called Tagazu or Tagazu. I'll probably absolutely ruin that name. It was a surf beach. And I was talking to this guy and I was like, oh, how long have you been here for? And he's like, oh, you know, I've been here for like 4 weeks. I was like, oh, what do you do? And he's like, oh, I just go around to like hostels and like fix up their website and their like, you know, hostels or whatever that page, hostels.com. Like he was doing web design and making sure their listings, photos, that was what he did. And he's just hopping around the world doing that. And I was like, huh, that's pretty interesting. I was like, I've got to go back and earn my money as a plumber or get paid biscuits to work in a ski company or something like that. So that was like, you know, the first taste of seeing people do it, but I didn't know these people. Like, these are people I just traveled and met. It wasn't until, like, obviously you just mentioned, I met your sister Veronica, like we met in a ski season. We came back to Adelaide and she introduced me to you, and you were into Amazon. And that was like, well, actually at the time it was Amazon, but you also had a Shopify website as well, which you were like kind of pushing towards your Amazon as well. And that was the first like, online stuff I saw that was going on. And I was like, interesting, this guy's younger than me. This guy's like, you know, he's just like come straight out of, not out of high school, like you just finished like your studies and you're doing Amazon and you're doing pretty good. Like I was like, huh, that was the next life. I was like, actually, I know this person. And as I got to know you more, I was like, okay, I actually know someone who's being successful in this game. That was the sort of the next light bulb moment that maybe this is possible.
What did you initially think about it? Did you think it was a scam, or did you have that, you know, that preconditioning of like, this feels dodgy or fake, or did you intuitively feel as if you could do this? It was an opportunity. How did that part work for you?
I don't think I thought I could do it at the start, but I didn't think it was a scam or fake. I definitely was open to, well, I guess I've always been open to new experiences. Like obviously traveling for the 4 or 5 years before I came across all this sort of stuff made me way more open to try new things. And like before I started traveling, I guess I was more like, you know, someone was like, do you want to try wakeboarding? I'd be like, no, I'll just get on the biscuit. Like, you know, I was like, you know, a little bit more held back, a little bit more scared of failing, and a little bit less like putting myself out there. But traveling, put myself out there. So when I came across, like you were the main figure who was really doing it and killing it, it didn't so much surprise me, and it wasn't like I thought this is fake. I wasn't sure if I could do it, because I remember at the time, and I know you tell this story, that I didn't even have a laptop at that stage. I wasn't even using a laptop. I had a phone and that was it. So like for me, I was like, okay, well, how do I do this? And then I was like, well, I'm open to do this. And I also remember having the conversation with Veronica and being like, look, I want to do this, the dropshipping site first, because I don't want to be left out in family conversations. I don't want to be, you know, coming to the dinner table and you're talking about Amazon, you're talking about your dropshipping website that you're creating. Veronica was interested in it as well because she wanted to better herself. You know, I'm just sitting there like, yeah, cool, plumbing. Like I wanted to be part of the family. I wanted to be like growing with you guys, and I didn't want to be like left behind. So that was the sort of like, okay, I don't know if this works yet, but I'm going to have a crack.
So you saw me doing Amazon at that time, and then you thought about drop shipping. I was also dabbling in drop shipping because I was doing well in Amazon, and I thought I'd expand out. Yeah. And so you saw the drop shipping thing. Run me through that. So drop shipping, I know you did NFTs, crypto, take me through the whole journey there. So what was your mind like? What was the order of things that you did before you eventually ended with Amazon?
So you're spot on, it was drop shipping. So yeah, you were running your Amazon business, but you were also dabbling in drop shipping at the time. And I think because you were doing that and learning of someone at that point in time, I was like, okay, well, I had access to that education. So I was like, I'm going to learn that as well. And you're like, hey, do it as well. So I was like, okay. So I started putting the hours learning it. And yeah, I got a website out. I was selling reusable coffee capsules.
Yeah.
What was it called? Blended Culture. Sick name. I love that name still. Blended Culture. And they did okay. I remember getting that ding. I was with mum and I had that ding and I was like, what's that? And it was my first sale. I got sales instantly and I can't remember how much I made now, but it was a few $1,000s and I made quite a few sales, but it wasn't very profitable. I didn't know how to run ads and that's where I got stuck.
In the end, the ads ended up eating into your profits.
I was just spending the same amount as profit. So I was up and I didn't know ads well enough. I didn't know how to scale. I made a really cool website. I learned how to dropship, but I just didn't know how to run ads. And I think I probably capped out at my mental capacity of where I was at that stage in life. I did all this stuff. I went from not having a laptop to launching a Shopify store that was making sales. But that was my probably max capacity in my brain at that stage. And then I just quit. I went to this ski season. We were doing another ski season. I tried doing it there, surrounded by people that weren't helping me build. I was surrounded by people that were I was working in a bar. And I was like, nah, this is getting too hard. I'm not making any money. And instead of learning how to do ads, I kind of quit. And the ads were hard. The ads are still hard today.
Yeah.
Facebook ads are hard. So I just quit. And then it was coming back to Gold Coast. And then so when you moved up with us and you were doing Amazon, and then I get back from plumbing and to see you there, rushing around the house, trying to act like you've been busy, put a bit of sweat on to make, because you thought that I felt bad, that you weren't doing much work.
I felt
you do
horrible.
an hour a day, and I'm getting home covered in shit, and I'd be exhausted, and I'd be I could hear you turning the movie off as I come through the door. And I don't know, watching Gladiator or something, and I'd be and I was never
Star Wars,
I was
Revenge
never
of the Sith.
jealous or upset with you, but you felt that way because you felt almost you needed to be doing work.
I'm just gonna clarify the story because it's hilarious. Yeah. So when I quit my job as a PE teacher, I moved to the Gold Coast. I then moved in with Chris and my sister Veronica. They had an apartment that was very cheap, beachfront, surfers paradise.
3-bedroom.
It was heaps of space. It was very cheap because there was they could demolish the building at any point, so they could evict you very quickly. That's the reason it was cheap. And so I moved in effortlessly, and I was running my Amazon FBA business, my first one, and it was doing really well. It was doing over 30,000 USD a month on complete autopilot. It was different days back then. This is in USA, and I had no work to do, and I had full freedom, no work to do. I was working probably 2-3 hours a week.
Yeah.
And Chris was working every single day, 6 a.m. till 6 p.m, plumbing, coming home covered in shit. And I would literally get the biggest anxiety attack when you were coming home because I'm I haven't done anything today. My business has made me $300 or $400, $500 some days. And I felt guilty almost because I wasn't working at all.
Do you know what?
But I was making so much money.
That period in time definitely was an influence into me wanting to get into it because I could see the difference in lifestyle.
Yeah.
I'm working my ass off for $1,100 a week or whatever, and you're doing 1/10 the amount of work, and you're getting paid, and living you had the freedom. And because in the back of my mind, I wanted to travel again. I wanted to go back overseas. I was I can't keep doing plumbing without restricting the lifestyle I want to have.
Yeah, and so before Amazon, you still ended up dabbling in kind of NFTs. You ended up dabbling in crypto. So run me through real quick the NFTs and crypto.
Actually, NFTs came in after. So Amazon, our first Amazon business was started. Remember, we did the Jaw Define tablets.
Yeah,
that's when you're I've got this cool idea. Do you guys want in on it? If not, I'm going to do it myself. And I was no, I'm not. I remember being no, I want to get into it. And then I remember we came up with a plan. I was going to invest more money into it because I had no experience. Veronica was already into Amazon at the time. She was doing, I think, on Guru maybe. She might have taken over. And you were you were already killing it on Amazon. So I put more money in to get involved. And then as soon as I put more money in, I wanted to be more involved until the point where I was learning as much as I could. And I was fuck, I love this. So we did that brand for a bit. Then me and Veronica did our own brand. I was still plumbing at the time. So I was still plumbing. We did Nika and Steph, which is a beach brand. We were doing that. That's the same period of time I started dabbling in NFTs.
Yeah.
Still plumbing at the time. Got pretty serious with NFTs to the point where I actually I took a job with an NFT company that ended up going bust. I took a job, it was on commission, so I didn't get any because it went bust. I quit plumbing to go all in on Amazon, but all in on NFT as well. So I had like
This
I had
is
Amazon
such a
and
pinnacle
NFTs.
moment
Yeah,
because you
100%.
literally just decided, fuck it, I'm quitting my job,
Yeah.
I'm going all in on this and I'm making this work.
Yeah.
And so it ended up going bust with the NFT company. Crypto wasn't like really sustainable. What made you then from there fully commit into Amazon?
Yeah, because well, I guess to add to that as well, I reduced my hours first in plumbing. I think this is actually a very big point. I was doing 5-hour weeks and I reduced it to 5-day weeks. I reduced it to 4-day weeks so I could focus more on Amazon and on NFT trading and stuff like that. And then yeah, like I made the decision as soon as I got given this offer for the NFT job. I was like, okay, well, doing Amazon on the side's great, but I also the NFT boom was exciting. I was like, I want to do both. And I was trying to do 50-50. So I was like, okay, this is my sign to get out of plumbing altogether. Amazon's ticking away, but I was doing the NFT, making a bit of money there. So I had 2 incomes. I was like, I don't need 3 incomes. Let's just focus on Amazon NFTs. Obviously, like you said, the NFT bubble, crypto bubble, I think a week after I quit my job, it went down. It just dropped. And like I lost like, $20,000-$30,000 in that bubble. Because, so when I say lost, I had to pull money out because I had to put that into Amazon instead. So I was like, all right. And I remember having this conversation with a mentor of mine, Tom, and he was like, look, even when NFTs was doing okay, he's like, you need to not split your focus. He's like, you need to pick either Amazon or pick NFTs. You can't do both.
Yeah.
And this was kind of, the boom hadn't fully dropped off yet, but I was like, no, but I can still make money in NFTs. And then when this started to happen, it really sunk in. I was like, no, I need to focus on what I'm better at, which was Amazon at the time, and NFT was definitely punter. I was just being a punter. I was gambling. I was just gambling. Amazon wasn't gambling, but I guess it wasn't as exciting as NFTs at the time because there was
NFTs would give you that dopamine rush, right?
And
I was trading those bad boys as well.
And I guess it was going around Australia, like everyone was talking about it, where Amazon no one was really talking about. So like there was way more, hype about NFTs at the time. But yeah, I remember that conversation about like, you can't split your time 50-50, you're only going to fail at both. You need to choose one. And that was like when we're like, okay, let's focus on Amazon. Let's start helping people with Amazon as well. That's when we just started discussing about educating people as well. Let's do that and let's get in that. And then we also started the next brand together as well.
Yeah, so exactly right. So then the next brand, Prodigy X, multi-million-dollar international brand.
Yeah.
We've ran it together since 2013.
We've done so much.
Run the audience through, how did you start with Prodigy X? How did we partner? How did we build that brand into multi-millions?
Yeah, Prodigy X honestly has been like, it's everything I kind of dreamed of doing. Like when you were doing your company, I remember, I don't know if you remember these conversations, but I remember being like, I would love to be in, when I was doing, because we were doing Nika and Steph, but it wasn't as successful as one of your businesses at the time, the Golden Nature at the time. And I was like, I'd love to be into that, like where our business at the time was. I was like, I want to be at that stage so I can run it and grow it. I really was excited about growing a business to that capacity. And Nika and Steph was doing okay. We were selling products. We had a few things come up. When Prodigy X started and you started that to begin with and it started to take off, but you could see that you needed help and that we had the skill set and capabilities to come help you out. So we jumped on board very early on as that took off. Like I think it was in the first month or so, like of that starting. That was like what I wanted to do. Like I was like, okay, where can I give you my best skill set? Where can I help out? Where can I grow as a person and implement that into Prodigy X? And that's what happened. Like we jumped on board. I took away a shitload of your work that so you could focus on other parts of the business, and we just scaled it together in that way. Like you can only scale so much by yourself before you need other people's input, other people's help, because businesses grow fast and they have challenges, and you need people to go through those challenges with together. And we've gone through a lot of challenges, like a lot of fun times, a lot of hard times as well. And the three of us have persisted through those and just continued to grow Prodigy to where it is today. We've got over 10 products in the product range, and it's a great fun brand. I generally love the brand, and I'm excited to launch new brands as well. But that has been like a really massive growth curve as well, going from plumbing, just working for someone else, to having the ambition to work on my own thing. And some people fizzle out for 6 months. We're in Bali. We meet people all the time that are like, I've got this crazy idea. And then you see them 6 months later, they're on to another crazy idea. You see them again, another crazy idea. Not many people see things through. Like 1 year max sometimes. We've been in that 3.5, 4 years now, and with 2 companies. So it's it's a testament to us. And I just I love doing both. And I think it's great to see us. And we're going to keep doing this for many years.
Yeah. And right before this video, before we started recording, you literally told me as a note, because now you're mainly involved in the day-to-day management of Prodigy X, growing the business. You've done a phenomenal job. And you told me right before this, hey, we're now fully out of Amazon USA, completely out. We're not selling a single product in Amazon USA anymore.
Point.
Why did you decide to not sell Prodigy X products in Amazon USA, and what marketplaces are you selling in, and why?
Yeah, so there's a big, I guess, for anyone listening and wanting to know, like there is a bit of a catch with Amazon USA. There is, don't get me wrong, massive amount of money in Amazon USA, like some crazy numbers over there, but you're competing with a lot of people that have a lot of money. Like it's like big dogs out there, and it's cutthroat. So you have to get everything right. And even when we've got everything right, to maintain that level, it's like you got to keep putting every cent basically back into the company. It's really hard to take profits, I think, in USA without consistently for years on years.
I say this all the time. Amazon USA is the most competitive e-commerce online business platform in the world. Any business, and the competition's so cutthroat with Chinese suppliers undercutting prices.
Refunds,
USA citizens love refunds and feel very entitled, and just generally Amazon USA is brutal. And we've sold in USA for a long time, and now we're out.
There's even things that USA has that other marketplaces like Australia don't have. Like they have you get charged if you have too little inventory. You get charged if you have too much inventory. It's like, come on, give me a break over there. But so yeah, USA, obviously we smashed it there. We made a lot of money over there as well. Don't get me wrong, we did well there. But we saw that the energy we were putting into Amazon USA was 80% of what our business was doing. And the revenue, I guess the profit to energy ratio was nothing compared to Australia, where we're putting 5%, 10% in and making way more profit. So maybe we make more profit in USA because we're making more revenue, but it took us 80% more energy.
The margin was thin too, comparatively.
Maybe half the amount of Amazon Australia. And we were umming and ahhing what we do, because, every time we think, we can get back in there, and we give it a crack, and then we once again waste so much time. Time is so important. Your time is worth so much money. And when I would spend most of my time in USA, when we could see the clear benefits of launching more and going bigger in Australia, it was a no-brainer to pull out. And it's taken 6 months to fully pull out of Amazon USA, because we obviously had a lot of products there still, and we had to do it over time. You can't just rip your products out. But we're out. I said to you, I hadn't told you yet. We're fully out of USA. We have no more expenses coming out of there. No more. We're not making any more money there. And we're literally just doubling down on Amazon Australia. That's literally, someone asked me that question the other day. What would you do in 2006? What's your goal in 2026? It's just to double down on Amazon Australia, launch as many products as possible, because it's just it's ripe for the taking. It's exciting. I know you're excited about it as well.
I am. But I want to know now, we've just gone over your entire journey from single parent hold, single mum, all the way through to, your high schooling, and then blue collar, traditional route, not knowing what to do, figuring it out, partying, blowing all your money on the weekends, to then traveling, to then, meeting your wife, and then you've mentioned, that you saw me, but you also had several mentors, and, trying different things, taking the plunge and quitting your job as a plumber, to go all in on NFTs, that crumbling after a week, and then going all in on Amazon and making it work, and then coming out with a multi-7-figure Amazon business. It's insane. So tell me, how does your life look like now? How's it changed?
It's fucking amazing. My life is good. Recently we moved back to Australia. Well, actually, the real word is we chose to move back to Australia, and we moved into a small place called...
And you say we, you and Veronica?
Me and my wife, and then the new addition. So we had our first son 8 weeks ago, and when we're choosing where to live, we decided we wanted somewhere that was peaceful, close to shops, easily walk aroundable, nice beaches, and we've found a nice place in the northern rivers of New South Wales, and just a beautiful, peaceful spot, so calm. I know you visited, and you're it's so relaxing, a different energy there. And, but that's after 3 years of traveling. That's three. We spent we actually sold all our stuff in the house. Well, you were there, and we were we're out of here, and we sold everything. And this is when Amazon Amazon was really peaking, and we did a ski season in France. Then we traveled Europe, and we met up with you in Europe. We were growing the business while we were in Europe. I remember that was fun times as well. We were traveling around. I remember launching the Recovery Pro when we were in like Portugal.
We were in. I remember this so clearly.
Game.
We were in Porto.
Porto,
in
yeah.
Our little, we had a little townhouse, and we literally launched our Prodigy X Recovery Pro, and that product freaking took off.
And then
fast.
we went to the Porto game, and I remember I've got a picture of me holding up the Porto.
Yeah, that was cool.
So we traveled there, and then we went to Asia. We went to Bali, and then Bali. I was reminiscing how we started like. We were doing a revamp of Conquer, like back then we were doing the rejig Conquer. We started that, which then took another year to finish. After we were like, we'll knock it out in 6 weeks in Bali. Like a year later, we revamped the whole of Conquer, and then we went back to Bali. We went between Adelaide. So with our last 3 years, we've actually been traveling quite a lot, which is one of the main benefits of being an Amazon seller. Like Amazon FBA, everything's fulfilled for you by Amazon. We store our products in Amazon, and that is just literally the biggest perk is that you can travel. And why I wanted to get into e-commerce and online space was to be able to like go all over the world and just still make money. No longer be like tied to a job in one location. So life now is like, Northern New South Wales, my son's 8 weeks old. Like, I've come over here to come see you for a couple of days and hang out and talk business and, plan for the future. And, it's been 24 hours and I'm missing the little bugger so much. But the amount of time I get to have with him, like at the moment when Veronica's sleeping in the mornings, because obviously she's breastfeeding, she's doing a lot as a mum, I get like 3 or 4 hours with him in the morning to look after him, and I watch everyone and all the other tradies go to work, and I generally feel like so grateful that I took the leap and had the support and that we met and we worked together, because I get to do exactly what I wanted. That's spend time with my family, spend time with my little boy, and like that's the greatest accomplishment. Like we've achieved so much in business, but like being able to then give back and actually spend time is what's worth all that money, like all that hard work, 100%.
Final question.
Yeah.
If there's someone in your position, stuck working as a plumber, working as a tradie, working any job at all that isn't fulfilling them and giving them that freedom life, and they're at that same crossroads where you were at, where you saw it, you saw the tangibility of this online business, you saw that it was real, you saw the opportunity, what would you say directly to them?
When I hear this question, there's like so many things that always pop up, like take action, like learn more. But you know what, the more I think about it, it took me a long time to actually get out of plumbing and to learn this stuff. It took a lot of trial and error and seeing people and meeting people. But I think actually making sure you're surrounded by the right people. I think that's a huge thing. Like trying to find people that are interested in something you want to do, to learn off of them, or find mentors. Like I said earlier when we were talking, I didn't really have a father figure, so I didn't have anyone to mentor me in that way. Didn't have anyone close, other than my granddad, but he wasn't into like building businesses. I think if you want to get out of your 9 to 5, you need to find people that are already doing it and learn from them, or surround yourself with people that you can start feeling and seeing what's happening. Because if you don't have that, and what will happen is your friends will hold you back. And I love all my friends to bits, and I know you went through similar stuff. Like I can never just cut them because I like them and I still have fun with them, but they do restrict how quickly you grow. They restrict your learning capacity. They restrict your like talking about things, because you don't want to talk about things that people aren't interested in. But if you can find a crew, 1 or 2 people that are interested, or a mentor who's like already done everything, that is, I think, one of the biggest ways out of your normal day-to-day life. You need to have someone that you can trust, that you can like look up to, that you can see it working for. You were doing it. I could see it was working. I had you around me. Tom was another guy who I talked to. I could see how he got out of it. I could see that it works. You need to see that the system works, and you can't do that if you're in your same friendship group and you're in the same stable like place. You need to actually have discomfort. You need to step out of your comfort zone and meet new people and try new things, and that's how you get out. That's I think the best thing to get people out.
Very powerful. That's a wrap.
Let's do it.
So as always, a reminder, your future self is counting on you. I'll see you in the next video. Peace.